I'm working on some paintings, and things ruminate. Stuff goes through my mind as I'm working, and the part of me that is connected to whatever it is that I feel that I don't even know. I don't really know in my mind, in my rational mind. I don't necessarily know, and I'm compelled to sort of make a comment on something that happens in my mind as I go. And interestingly, look, I'm wearing this sweatshirt. I don't really think about it. I put the sweatshirt on. It says Friars and Providence. I guess that's the university. And the words friars were, I think in tradition, the friar is a mendicant, someone who relies on the generosity of others. Where have you heard that? Tennessee Williams, Streetcar Named Desire. I often rely on the generosity of strangers. And then the friar is basically, I don't consider myself a friar, but, and Providence is interesting because if you think about Providence in a definition, it's kind of like relying on the care of God or nature, being taken care of within the concept of God or nature, whatever that might be. So there's a very religious sort of context with my shirt, and I'm not a Catholic. Usually the Catholics have the friars on their, on their payroll, and but the original, the Franciscans, I mean, the first environmentalist was St. Francis, who tried to take care of the animals. He gave up everything and started to care for nature, the animals, people, everything around him. He gave himself completely over to this feeling. Now I'm wearing this, and I never really thought about it, and I'm looking at myself as I'm setting up to make a video, and I say, Friars, Providence? Isn't this exactly the topic of what we're in? And I'm just going to make a very quick comment because it's going through my mind about YouTube and what I'm doing on YouTube. And you know that I have in my own YouTube channel, I've grown through 4 or 5 years now of since 2008, I think 7 years almost. I've progressed, I've moved through, and I've understood the value of YouTube to me, and that is finding 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people that actually vibrate with my own consciousness, my own way of thinking, my belief, my understanding, my sense of things, and I've done that. And I'm making paintings. I'm working on some paintings. As you can see behind me, there's more paintings, and quite a number of these are, as you know, I'm allied with Post Ignorance, Kevin Blanche. These paintings, some of these paintings are going to go down to Blanche. He's going to work on them. And what I was thinking of is the idea of me being on YouTube and making comments, and to some extent being caught up in the YouTube thing. And you know that there's been some controversy regarding the Palco affair and people criticizing, and there's a whole level of surmise. People try to extrapolate things out of a virtual reality, a reality that doesn't really exist. It's kind of like watching reality TV. It's people pretending to be involved in something that is not really happening to them. Well, it's actually like watching a movie. I love watching movies. And if you look at a painting, if I look at a painting, in essence, I'm not involved unless I'm doing it, making it. You have to be a principal in order to be connected in a real way. But it doesn't mean you can't appreciate, but the ultimate test is to be involved in reality. Now, reality, as I see it, what we are facing is so monumental, and people that drift around in this YouTube virtual reality. And I will say definitively what I've understood about YouTube and my own understanding with my own commentary and my own YouTubes and my own exhibiting my work, or whatever you want to say, is 99% of absolute no value unless it escapes the bounds of decoration. I am not interested in decoration. YouTube being a decoration, sort of a filler to the rest of my life, Or the other part that I think is really important, which seems to be manifesting itself for probably maybe a small portion, maybe 5% of YouTube. 95% is decoration, meaninglessness, and the other 4% is a kind of aggression, a sort of violence even. There is a sense of violence in the abuse and the threats that people who don't know each other, going off on each other with incredible force, something that if you were to meet in real life, one of these individuals would be dead. This is how I see it. It's like that feeling of aggression, that sense of sort of power, the feeling of if you take a gun and you shoot a deer, you have this sense of power of having killed a life form. Or even if you go into the African jungles and you take your 303 Magnum machine gun and you gun down a lion or a rhino or an elephant, and you gather some sort of vicarious strength from this having killed, having destroyed, having displayed your ability to inflict pain and murder or hate or whatever it is. This is the 5% of YouTube that is also happening. You all know what I'm talking about. This sort of posturing, this threat, this level of violence. Now, no lion or elephant, fortunately, is being murdered, or no person is being killed, but yet it continues an old standard. And as a painter, what I try to do in my own work is not to repeat that which has come before. I want to bring something to the table that is not what you've seen before. I want to tell you something that you have never thought of or heard of or considered before. And this is the value of the intuitive mind and the creative mind and the person who is involved creatively, and not just regurgitating some sort of fictitious, meaningless, unexperienced, whatever that is. The information is of no value ultimately. It has to be experienced. And I think, and it's still YouTube, this is still YouTube. I mean, I am doing exactly what I'm saying is of virtually no value. There might be a 1% or even less than 1% of value in YouTube in terms of really having an effect on my life, on people's lives. And what I'm using YouTube is actually, I'm developing in this. I'm developing an understanding and what it means to have significance. This medium, this brilliant medium, it's totally abused. It's not working. It's not working because people are doing the same old, same old. The same old, same old. The history of war. I did a show called, what was it called? Based on Goya's idea of the disasters of war. And when I was researching this, it turns out that out of 6,000 years of recorded history, we had a cumulative peaceful state on our planet of 265 years, or roughly that, 267, I don't know what it was. So the history that we have come through, the pattern of conformity, which is based on complicity. We conform because we comply. And we need to think for ourselves. A lot of people are saying stuff on YouTube, but you know, it has very little relevance unless we're in the actual physical acts of meeting people and interacting and doing things that have value to us, not in a virtual way. And all these criticisms and this backbiting and the comments, my God, the comments, people, you know, they rely on the fucking this and fucking that, and I'm a fucking tough guy and all this kind of shit. If it isn't related to a real thing, it's like, I'm not going to disparage completely the idea of this violent approach, which is history. What I'm saying, what I understood is that I come out of a violent history. The Huns, the Germans, the invaders, Attila the Hun, you know, the Genghis Khans, the Hitlers, the Stalins, the Maos, the Pol Pots, you name them. We come out of a history, a recorded history of destruction and violence. What's YouTube doing? Other than the decorations, 95% of decorations, the other 5% is just this continuation of violence and aggression. You go ahead and check it out, and I will give, and I know that Blanche is very aggressive in his language, and I have expressed what I have understood about that. I don't see it like all the other guys going on about, oh, fucking this and fucking that and fuck the bastard motherfucker, fuck. It is a counter to the calamity that we face called Fukushima. Blanche has understood this in his videos. So I'm not talking about the language that people get offended by. What I'm talking about is there is no context for the violence between people on YouTube. There is none. You don't even know each other. You don't even have any concept of what the person is on the other side of your violence and your criticism and your anger and whatever your opinions are. They're of no real value. And what I think is that we truly need to find a new standard of relating, which is why I paint. I try to create work that actually puts something new on the plate for a change instead of this aggression and this violence. There is no point in it. What we need to do is we need to embrace what I've always said. We need to become more caring. And caring doesn't mean kicking the shit out of people and going, oh, fuck this, fuck that, you motherfucker, you fucking asshole. You know, these people are dime a dozen. It's like I say, 95% of YouTube is decoration, and the other 4% is violence, aggression, and trying to threaten people and all this. Well, what's the point of that? That is the history of conformity. You're conforming. And now I want to come to the true courage. The true courage, what I understand of being courageous. And, you know, I'm not the most courageous person. I am a painter. I'm in my studio. And the courage that I understand is to break the conformity. People, this is how it works. And whatever that conformity might be in each one of our lives, if you're a drug addict, you don't want to conform to that. You want to break that pattern. If you're somebody that is completely compliant with a system that is destroying us, you don't want to comply. You don't want to conform to that. You want to create a sense within yourself that you're breaking that pattern. That's my channel. That's what I talk about, to break the pattern. What I've understood about my own background is becoming an artist that may have, I'm not going to say what it is that my work means to anybody, that it may have value to someone else, because I'm serving you something. I'm serving you something that you've never seen, thought, or understood before. It's a new reality. This is the brilliance of art and history. That people actually broke the conformity. And this is the true courage. It's not how you beat somebody up. It's not how you can deride and abuse somebody with language. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do, like Megan Rice going into Y12 and saying, you got to stop this nuclear madness. You got to stop this madness. This is courage. Now she was slammed into the slammer, because this is the biggest threat to conformity. People saying and standing behind what they do. And I guess we all have our levels of tolerance with whatever we're willing to do. I mean, I feel this in my own work. Am I going to push myself into something that doesn't feel right? I have my color palette, and I do the work that I do, and I'm trying to push something within myself, which is reflected in the paintings. And the greatest courage is to break with conformity. And the greatest conformity, as I see it on YouTube, is the decorations that have no value. People just commenting, they're like decorations, they're like a color combination. Or the other conformity is this aggression, this fake aggression related to nothing other than to tear somebody down because you feel you're being criticized. What a weak ego. I say to everybody that comments with their fucking motherfucker, this, that, you have the weakest of weakest egos. You cannot understand what it means to have courage. You are cowards. You are cowards. You are cowards with your aggressive language against people. You are cowards. You are the biggest cowards on YouTube. And don't pretend, yeah, okay, so you go ahead and beat somebody up in real life. Oh, fucking A. Fucking A, yeah, that's fantastic. You have really, oh, you killed that elephant. You took that, you know, you had that bigger fist and bang, you got it done. You got her done, right? You got her done. You're deranged. You're delusional. And I'm not a big spiritual, esoteric guy on the guru sitting on the rock. No, I want to be part of people. I want to be involved. I want to criticize. I want to have an argument and then be swayed whatever way that you're telling me. But I'm not interested in having a virtual. It's sort of like a drunken Tupperware party. That's what YouTube has turned into. A drunken Tupperware party.